All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video. Check out Pig and a Pickle. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're soon to open in Petaluma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And, of course, the Crew Show also brought to you by Prize Picks. We'll tell you about them in a second. But first, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers in an area that they do really well in. When they commit to looking for undrafted free agents, I think the 49ers are as good as almost any team in pro football at finding steals on day 3 and after the draft. And they proved it again this year. We're going to talk about some of those guys and what the bonus money that they're paying each of these guys really tells us about this situation. Of course, you say undrafted free agents. The 49ers have done a really nice job through the years in finding guys after the draft. Raheem Mostert, undrafted free agent. Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, undrafted free agent. Kevin Givens, undrafted free agent. Azeez Al-Shire, undrafted free agent. Not to mention, George Kittle, DJ Jones, Brock Purdy, and others, who are day 3 draft choices. But the Niners do really well in undrafted free agents. And it's not just yesteryear. I mean, they're benefiting right now on their roster from undrafted free agents. Just right now, if you take a perusal of the 49er roster, you're going to see Drake Nugent, really good young offensive lineman. Wasn't drafted, undrafted free agent. Jake Tonjes. Now, the Niners didn't sign him initially as an undrafted free agent. The Bears did, but now the Niners got Jake as a street free agent. But he was an undrafted free agent out of Cal. Jake Tonjes, one of the better receiving tight ends in pro football. Last year, the 49ers, or 2 years ago, the 49ers gave Evan Anderson $380,000 to sign with them as an undrafted free agent. What does that tell you? It tells you, one, that Chris Kasarik is given a lot, is really they put a lot of confidence in Kasarik's evaluations. He wanted Evan Anderson, and the Niners ponied up the guaranteed money to make him a 49er as an undrafted free agent. Last year, Sebastian Valdez really never played in the regular season, but really showed out in the preseason. And he's still on the roster and very much has a chance to have a career with the 49ers. Jacob Robinson, another guy from BYU, undrafted free agent, had a really, really good summer last year. He's going to show up this summer in Santa Clara, ready to fight for a job. So I think it's pretty clear at this point that undrafted free agents are valuable and they can really help your football team. And this year, the 49ers got some really, really good options. Now, let's tell you, of course, the Crew Show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes and build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. So if you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. And when you play $5, you'll get $50 in lineups instantly. Well, what did the Niners do as far as guaranteed money in the undrafted market this year? See, last year, they really had a belt tightening, and I thought it was really illogical. They were 26th in the NFL in undrafted free agent spending, and I thought that was just absolutely idiotic because this is the best market, and it's not that expensive to swim in these waters. And we'll give you an idea of what the Niners spent this year on the undrafted players. We'll share the screen and show you the printout from this year. So this is the undrafted guaranteed money that the 49ers have paid, that the 49ers have given this year to their undrafted free agents. So let's just go right down the list. Will Grimes gets $200,000 guaranteed. $200,000 base is guaranteed. And then he's got $190,000 signing bonus. It says $200,000 guaranteed. So maybe the signing bonus wasn't guaranteed. Or maybe it was, and he got $390,000. It sounds like maybe Will Grimes made the most at $390,000. And, I really like Will Grimes. Will Grimes is a really interesting player. He's a 6'2", 195-pound receiver from NC State. And he ran 4.24 a couple years ago, and this last year ran in the lead up to the draft, ran 4.35 in the 40, and really, really looked good. So you got Grimes, making 200,000 base and 190,000, so maybe 390 guaranteed to Will Grimes. Will Pauling, or Wesley Grimes, I should say. Will Pauling from Notre Dame. They guaranteed him 277,500. 247.5 is the base, fully guaranteed, and then the $30,000 signing bonus. So good money for Will Pauling. Played at Wisconsin, finished up at Notre Dame, had a bunch of drops at Wisconsin, was awesome this year at Notre Dame. 2 drops all year. Will Pauling, really impressive player, and they gave him a lot of money. Khalil Dinkins, Niners, you would think, would have looked for a tight end in the draft with George Kittle being hurt and the Niners being kind of thin at that position, but they didn't. But after the draft, they signed Khalil Dinkins from Penn State. And they gave him $275,000 guaranteed, 247.5 in base, 27.5 in signing bonus. James Thompson, the big defensive lineman who was a really good player at Wisconsin, finished up at Illinois. 36 reps of 225, very strong defensive tackle, and he's really fun to watch. Niners gave him 277,500 guaranteed, 247.5 in base, and then $30,000 in the signing bonus. Bryce Neeson from Tennessee, 272.5 guaranteed money, 247.5 in base, $25,000 signing bonus. Jalen Stroman, the Notre Dame safety, got $60,000 guaranteed, $50,000 in a base, $10,000 in a signing bonus. And then the Niners did sign Mikhail Kamara and Larry Worth III. But according to the reports, Kamara and Worth got nothing guaranteed. Now, interestingly, they did sign Worth to a 3-year contract. So maybe there is some guaranteed money there after all. But at least in this note, it says that Kamara and Worth got nothing guaranteed overall. All right, let's talk a little bit about these players, though. And why don't we start with James Thompson? James Thompson caught my eye at the East-West Shrine practices. I was watching on the NFL Network, and he's just a very, very strong defensive lineman. This is every rep he had. This is a minute-long video. Every rep that he had from the Shrine practice. And what you're going to see here is a guy who is too quick for the interior offensive lineman and too strong for him as well. Here he is, number 90. Little arm over. He's at the quarterback. Beat him routinely there. Too quick for that lineman, for sure. Great hand usage, working back to the quarterback. Here he is going against Reed Adams. Here's Caden Barnett, 78, from Wyoming, undrafted player, about 320 pounds. Now, to me, this is an impressive rep. Let's go back to this one for a second. Look at this kid. This guy, Barnett, is 320. Look at him get moved back. That's the strength of 36 reps right there. 320-pound man just get moved back by James Thompson. Here, another angle. You can just see him. He goes right through the stripe on his helmet. And now this is against Fabechi Awiwu. Too quick for Awiwu, who's got long arms. He just puts Awiwu into the cycle here. Just left, right. I'm by you. Reverse angle. Awiwu wanted to tackle him. Awiwu's just a little slow-footed, but he's strong as hell. But he couldn't get his hands on James Thompson. Thompson's moving to the left, to the right. So there you go. You get a good feel for James Thompson right there. Good player at Wisconsin. Big powerhouse player. We're talking about 6'6", 310. Hunts quarterbacks, quick. Very, very, very impressive player. Let's take a look at a couple of these other guys as well. This is the video of Wesley Grimes. Here's Grimes making some plays. And he takes a big hit. And that's what I like, because there's a lot of speedy guys, but they don't have a lot of substance to them as far as they can't take a lot of hits. Here's Grimes, who's got 4.35 speed, and he takes a big hit and he holds on. Quarterback going down the middle on the seam. Boom. And he felt it, but he scored. Oof. Starched. but he didn't go down, got in the end zone, got up and walked away. Here we go. Same play again. Down the middle, boom, big hit. Tough kid, though. When you can run in the 4.3s and you can take a hit in the middle of the field, to me, that makes you interesting. On that alone, you're interesting. So that's a little bit of Wesley Grimes. Now, Will Pauling, let's talk about Will Pauling for a second. Will Pauling started at Wisconsin, and then he went to Notre Dame, and he had some problems with some drops at Wisconsin. But this year at Notre Dame, he scored 6 touchdowns. He only dropped 2 balls all year. We're talking about a kid with 42-inch vertical who's a really good route runner and also runs 4.37. Now, here's a little video. He's a very impressive young guy for sure, and he had a great year at Notre Dame. And I just think that this is going to be a guy that's going to be, if you're Jacob Cowing, you better get ready, because Will Pauling is going to show up and he's going to produce this summer. And if Cowing's not ready, Will Pauling will make Cowing an ex-Niner, because Pauling's got good measurables too. He's small, but he's, you're talking about a guy who's got, 4.37 speed and 42.5-inch vertical, and scored 6 touchdowns this year and only had 2 drops all year. So he had a really productive year at Notre Dame. And to listen to Marcus Freeman talk about him and Malachi Fields, it's pretty obvious that these guys are culture players. They played hurt, they played tough, they made plays. This guy was well received at Notre Dame. So the Niners gave this guy the most, at least base wise. And he's got a shot. He's got a shot because he does have, production. He does have measurables. He does have jumping ability, lower body explosion. Will Pauling, good football player in multiple programs, had some drops issues coming into this year, but then proved at Notre Dame that he could hold on to the ball. So he is an intriguing player for sure. Another guy the Niners signed was Khalil Dinkins, the Penn State tight end. And Dinkins, 49, I think Dinkins might have a real opportunity here, because there's not a lot of tight ends with talent on this roster behind George Kittle. Farrell is limited, and Dinkins is considered a blocking tight end. But is he just a blocking tight end? I don't think so. I just think he was underutilized as a receiver at Penn State. Long arms, very strong, really solid inline blocker, used more as an inline blocker than flexed out. Here he is kind of sifting through, and the quarterback rolls right and finds him all by his lonesome in the end zone. Same play. You see him kind of sift through the middle, and nice little catch there. But they threw him 40 some odd passes the entire time he was there. All 4 years combined, like 44 pass attempts, 46 targets, something like that. It's a really low number. So he really didn't have the production as a receiver, but he can catch. He's got long arms. He can block. I think he's going to be a better blocker than Luke Farrell. That was a nice pickup. Nice pickup for sure. All right, let's jump into our Prize Picks lineup for today. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and the reason I like it, it is simple. You're just picking more or less on player stats or even game outcomes, building your lineup, and you're in. No complicated stuff, just what you think is going to happen in the game. Use code HMA, play $5, and get $50 in lineups instantly. The link is in the description. All right, let's get into it and take a look at our lineup. We're going to go with some NFL futures. I thought, why not? Let's go with some NFL futures. So we're going to go a 4-pick power play, $5 to win 50. Puka Nacua has to have less than 8 receiving touchdowns. Myles Garrett has to have more than 14 sacks. Ashton Genty more than 950.5 rush yards. And Derrick Henry less than 1,274.5 rush yards. If we go 4 for 4, our 4-pick power play will pay us $50. Love Prize Picks. Check them out. Thanks to Prize Picks for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show to get Khalil Dinkins. Probably the guy that surprised me the most when it came to the undrafted class was Mikhail Kamara, because Kamara was a star at Indiana, and I thought the Niners were going to have to battle with a bunch of teams for him, but it sounds like they didn't offer him any bonus money, and somehow they got him. Now maybe that's wrong. Here he is here, and just look at the spin cycle he puts the Oregon offensive lineman in. We're talking about a guy, gone right by you. Like this guy just getting left. Look at that. He just broke down that tackle. Is that Isaiah World? Just absolutely the quickness of Mikhail Kamara. And he's got moves. He's got, he's 260 pounds, but he's on 260 on a 6-foot frame. But man, he's quick and he can hunt quarterbacks. And I thought he looked really good in the minicamp, but I was surprised when I saw that they did not give him guaranteed money. Really like Mikhail Kamara, though. I think he's going to be a fantastic undrafted free agent for the 49ers. One other guy that the Niners picked up recently this week, and they signed him to a 3-year deal, was Larry Worth III from Arkansas. And, this is an interesting guy for sure. I mean, this guy's 6'4", 220, very rangy, looks like a sub-package player, can hit. Is he a strong safety? Is he a weak side backer? How is Raheem Morris going to utilize, this player? I think it's going to be fun to watch. Larry Worth III from Arkansas, 6'4", 220, super athletic. And he looks like the kind of guy that could play safety, special teams, or possibly a weak side linebacker. Niners signed him to a 3-year contract. So another undrafted player, originally started at Jacksonville State, transferred to Arkansas for 2 seasons to finish his college career. 2 seasons in Fayetteville with the Razorbacks. He played in 25 games. He put up 118 tackles, 2 TFLs, a half a sack. He had 3 pass breakups and a forced fumble. 6'4", 220, 225. I don't know how they're going to use him. Is he going to be a off-the-ball linebacker? It's like this is the team that discovered Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and Azeez Al-Shire as undrafted players, and watch those guys carve out significant roles with the 49ers. So maybe a guy like Larry Worth will have a significant role as well. So just something to look for. But Larry Worth, I think, is interesting. And then Stroman got $50,000 guaranteed. 60,000 overall, but 50,000 guaranteed. And, when you look at the numbers at safety, there's not a lot of depth at safety. So he may have a very good chance to land a roster spot with the 49ers. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Prize Picks, and thanks to our other sponsors as well. We're brought to you by AlamarMarina.net. Voted Sacramento's favorite 15 times over, 5999 Garden Highway. They're open Wednesday through Sunday. Float while you dine on the Sacramento River. You're going to love that. Great spot. Awesome spot. Also, thank you to Nevada Chevrolet. Go see David Corral. Voted top car dealership by Carfax. Family-owned dealership for over 50 years. They've been right there in Nevada for a long time. Friendly staff to meet all of your expectations. Gus, the owner, is a personal friend. Huge selection. Great pricing. Easy financing. Bay Area's EV headquarters. When I buy a car, I buy it from Novato Chevrolet. And also thank you to Anthony Catania and the good people at Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. He's down in Pacific Grove, and you can give him a call at 831-521-5264. If you want to support the show, support the sponsors, it's always a good way. Hit like and subscribe on your way out the door. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.